Hello, everybody. Hi. So my journey as a founder is maybe a little bit different from a lot of other founders in the room or elsewhere. So I started as an academic, so pure scientist, love the theory, love putting my head down and working on something for like months. And then the founder journey started out of a frustration. So I was working in a field which is AI for health, where a lot of advances were happening. A lot of tools were coming out and being published in papers that says this tool is better than a radiologist, this tool is better than a dermatologist, this tool is better than an eye doctor, and then claiming this would save potentially millions of people in rural India if it's applied and all that. But all these tools, they stay in academic papers and they don't actually make it to the public, or very rarely do so. So from that frustration, I decided to quit the job and start this. So I think that's the beginning of the journey. Yeah.
So Aziz, one thing I wanted to ask is that, how kind of groundbreaking this is that you used the models that you saw created since 2013. And we're talking about the time when AI as a word was actually frowned upon by the machine learning scientists, right? They didn't like the word so much, right?
Yeah.
And you had access to those models created in the last 10 years. And how easy it is to get access to those models today?
Well, it depends on whom. I think a lot of them are open access. So because the journals, they enforce often that people make the tools they develop open access. So a lot of the tools are actually accessible in the sense that you could get them. But then for a general layperson, there is no way that they're going to GitHub, download that model, write all the code to make it, usable, and then use it for themselves. That's not possible. So that's where this comes in.
Sure. Why don't you take us through the video and we can ask more questions?
Awesome. Yeah. Start. Awesome. So what do I mean by making AI for health model accessible to the public? So the journey looks something like this. So somebody has a picture, say an ultrasound with gallbladders. So they choose a model that analyzes that sort of picture, and they just press analyze, and then they get an analysis of their own picture directly without any third party. So in the back, what this is using, it's not an LLM. This is a model that was trained in a hospital setting on a clean data sets of cases and control and classifies things well. So as you can see, not only it returned the right answer, but also give you the probability from the models, which an LLM wouldn't be able to give you. So that's just one tool. We implemented many, some of them on images, some of them like Google hears on cough sounds to predict different diseases, X-rays, all sorts of different models like that. The one that's getting very popular is this one, the H-face prediction. For some people like to use it and then share it on social media. And so we could stop there. We could stop at the catalog of all the tools and models and people go in and use them. But we can also go one step further and connect all these models in an agentic framework. So here, for example, I'm in a chat, user is saying, I have a skin spot. So the agent will ask them, the optimal set of questions to figure out what they have and all that. But the agent can also link them to the tool, that's the specialized AI for health tool, that will analyze skin spots and then return the answers directly to the agent. So a user doesn't have to go through the catalog to figure out what tools to use. It's all in this agentic framework. And the benefit of this is that it's combining strengths from LLMs with strengths from all these specialized AI models. Another good thing is that it also connects to the user data. So the agent is connecting to tools, but also to data. And so what it means is if I'm saying, for example, I'm having hot flashes, the model also knows my gender, my age, so it's unlikely that I'm premenopausal or something. So the questions and the recommendation and all that are going to reflect that knowledge because it's connected to my data. So that's the power of an agentic framework where you have an agent connected to all sorts of specialized tools and then also to all sorts of data types from the user. So that's the initial idea. This is phase one. Phase one is I was very focused on building tools for people. Phase one was great and fun to do, but it doesn't get you, engagement and a lot of people using the things. So I went for phase two. Phase two is data. So what health data can I share with people, health insights that can benefit people? And the question is a lot. Over the last year, I implemented maybe 50 different metrics and scores and all sorts of things, all based on the literature, so you can always see the citation and where things are coming from. That covers, all sorts of aspects of people's health. So longevity, medication interactions, nutrition, risk for different diseases, like mental health. And then also, because you're collecting all these data from different data modalities, then you start seeing the whole picture of a person. And then you can start giving recommendation based on the whole picture rather than on the small part. So this is kind of the recommendation engine that looks at all my health data and then gives me what is the priority, what should I be focusing on first. So this is phase two. It was all about data, all about insights. This was also fun and great, but it doesn't get you recurrent user engagement. Some profiles of people like this and come in and share their data and get their results, but they don't necessarily come back and become like, recurrent users. So then I moved to phase three. So phase three is drop all this focus on tools and scores, and now let's work on the user journey. So, and the outcomes. So what do we want? We want people to be healthier. So how do we take people from where they are to the next step? And what kind of small nudges are likely to succeed in improving their health? And then we can still use those tools and scores and all that, but in a, piece by piece, like in a way that's digestible. Majority of people don't respond well to like big dashboards and scores everywhere. So that's the phase three that we're building now. As you can see, there are some tools there. This one, for example, is the insurance benefit optimization. There's all sorts of other tools added. I hope you were watching what was happening in the screen as I was talking, but yeah.
So Aziz, it's a classic example also of how to build the products, right? And I think what you told about your journey from phase one to phase two to phase three, how did that happen? And how did that help you build the product out? Who's the audience who needs it? Who are your early adopters? And how did you keep them in mind to build this?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think as a technical person and the scientist to begin with, I thought I was focused on the users at the beginning, but I really wasn't. I was focused on the tools and the product and thinking this is going to be amazing, because the tools are useful and they can help people, then therefore this is going to succeed. But that's not how it works. Like you can build something that is useful, but somebody who doesn't need it at that moment is just going to look at the website and go, and then don't even remember it once they actually need it. So you need something else to catch people and keep them. That's kind of the progression from tools to data to user journey.
Awesome. I'll also have the panelists ask questions. Orchid, I was speaking to you about what Aziz is building, and you had given a very interesting term, bypass GP, right? What did you feel about the product since you've heard about it?
Yeah, I've decided to rename your venture bypassgp.com. But there's so much good stuff in there, and I think, I'm not sure if my co-founder is here, but she used it and she actually diagnosed something that she was able to go to the family physician and do something about. So the need is obvious, and especially in the world of there's not enough GPs in Canada and so on. How do you fit what you're doing into the workflow that's happening right now? And even though the government says we need more of GPs, they're not saying they want this. So I just want to understand, how do you even start talking to people about this need of something that's so broad for them to use?
Yeah, from user interviews, what I got is, people need the GPs, but they often are reluctant to go to the GPs. And then there is a time period between they have symptoms and they're concerned to the moment they're like, okay, I'll go to the doctor. And then there is another time period between they go to the doctor to, they book an appointment to actually they see the doctor. And then another time lapse to they see the specialist and get an answer, right? During all that time, they're kind of powerless. So having tools that, give them information can only help in that process. So there's all these key moments, if that answers. Yeah.
Really nice demo. I think there's a lot of good things in there. A couple things about the user journey on phase 3. First of all, what is phase 4?
I think, phase 3 is the user journey starting, giving them the direction, slowly, little by a bit by bit, and keeping them engaged as you go. I think phase 4 is connecting them to actual tools and things like that they can leverage beyond this platform. I think phase 4 is going from a platform that I'm building on my own to maybe something like more collaborative, where you have a lot of other people like me adding their own knowledge and expertise to make this a bigger thing than it is now.
Yeah. One thing that I noticed in the 3 phases, you actually have 3 kind of different products, because the user that comes into here, they're either the first one is hey, I've had medical imaging done. I know I have something wrong. I'm double checking. So that's like a patient profile, right? And then the second one, or when even in the first one, you went into the age analysis, and that was more fun, and people are maybe not sick during that time. Have you really thought about who your ideal user is, or who you're serving?
Yeah, you're exactly right. The first set is a set of tools, so it's really somebody who needs that tool at that moment. So it's kind of the rare person that you caught at the right moment with an ad or something like that, so it's a patient. The second set of people, it's kind of the biohackers and the people who want to optimize and want to see all sorts of different scores and all that. But both these fragments are kind of a tiny proportion of the people that this could be helping. I think that's why phase 3 is focused on more the majority. So people who, are not there looking to optimize their, or get a score or get a longevity prediction or something like that, but people who could benefit from a little bit of advice, a little bit of nudges towards better health outcomes, and that's the majority of people. So I think, and for these 2 other profiles that the first set of the tools were targeting, the tools are still there. You could still, get them. They're just not front and center anymore. So that's the change.
Yeah, maybe the perspective that I can share is that I have a platform that has 7 million members through employers and insurance. So I understand a general population tool. And I would say now that I've been building it for 11 years, and the riches are in the niches. Mm-hmm. So when you have in your first phase 1 or phase 2 component, when you have a very driven user because of pain, or a driven user because of biohacking or whatever, that's where the riches are. The other platform, of course, you can do it, but it takes 11 years. So it just depends on the journey that you want to take on.
Makes sense.
Okay, we'll take a question. Do you have a question?
I just want to clarify. So you are going after individual people, not... Okay, so you're not doing a B2B kind of thing with this?
There is, we did pursue some B2B venues. So for example, there is high-end gyms or longevity clinics or things like that, in between visits, they need, follow-ups. They need somebody who, use those data sets to kind of guide people, because otherwise it's kind of discontinued. So we partnered, for example, with a, supplement company or something like that, so that they can run a study through the platform, and so there is some B2B venues, but really it's B2B2C, and the C is the important part.
One question from the audience quickly. We also want you to ask questions.
Just curious, what is the business model? I haven't heard the business model here. Just as an aspiring entrepreneur, I'm interested.
So the idea is multi-step. So initially you could have revenue from people using the platform, which is not going to be like a high fee or anything. Membership, basically, to use the extra features or something like that. Then you could have revenue from a product recommendation. So say a lot of people, even in this room, are working on amazing products, and it's hard to advertise for those products because it's hard to catch the person right at the time where they need it. On my platform, what I could do, say somebody is worried about Lyme disease. They have some symptoms that could be Lyme disease. And I know there is this amazing startup that has an at-home test kit for Lyme disease. I could be like, this is a resource you could use, right? And I could be affiliated with that. So that could be like a second source of revenue. And then from there is also, I mentioned the partnerships with, like third parties, programs and all that to run things for them. And then there's insurance companies. So once you start building a big user base, then you could partner with the insurance company because this cuts, their improves the health baseline of their customers. So just the way they did it before with wearable devices or something like that, they could also do it with a platform like this. And then finally there is pharma. When, for example, they're looking for to run a clinical trial. If they're looking for a specific population with specific conditions and all that, if you have a big user base, then you can start recommending to the user the trial without sharing any of their data with the pharma company or anything. But it could be like that recommendation engine between your users and then other things out there.
Thank you, Aziz. Wonderful.